to another Team Horny Racing sim racing video. This week we are looking at the Mazda MX5 Cup. I was going to do a Porsche video, however I didn't really like the circuit this week and decided to do the MX5 Cup instead for the video. It's a very close championship racing on iRacing. Great car, a bit slow, but a lot of fun. We had a great battle with this number 9 car throughout the race, so I thought, yeah, it'd be a great video for this week. So here we are at the start, qualified 4th. Which is pretty good. Difficult to start these cars. They used to be manual gearbox with a clutch. They changed them to be like the real cars with a sequential. Makes it much harder to launch. Got a really long first gear, so it's quite difficult to get them off the line. Did okay. We're going to just follow it through the first few corners of the first lap here, just to see how it went. It's pretty good. These cars are pretty slippery when the tyres and brakes are cold, so the main aim of the first few corners in any of these MX5 races is to just stay where you are. Try and gain from anyone's misfortune, but also not have some misfortune yourself. Pretty easy. It's very easy to slide off wide or miss a braking point and go wide. So yeah, we managed to do pretty well. We managed to sort of stay in 4th. Not really make any ground on the cars in front, but we did manage to give a bit of a gap to the guys behind. Bit of a result. So there we are, onto the banking. So this circuit this week, it's Charlotte Roval. So it's an oval with a infield section. So I thought, well, let's do an onboard lap. Especially a lot of people in the UK don't really know much about Roval layouts. I certainly didn't until I started doing iRacing. So that's we start on the oval, and then we basically go into an infield section. A bit like Rockingham if you're a UK person. Rockingham, very similar sort of layout for road racing. So we have quite a tight infield section. It's got some pretty heavy curbs, and on this section here some pretty slippery grass as well. There's some fast third gear corners like this one, and then there's which brings you straight down to this very slow second gear, which is over a crest. It's a bit off camber. It's a pretty tricky corner, one of the hardest ones on the circuit, I reckon. And then we come down here, and then this is probably the hardest corner, I think, because don't get a decent turn in there. You've got this long run down this first section of banking and you lose so much time. Now on this circuit they've put in a couple of chicanes. So at the end of this part of the banking we come down and there's a chicane here. This is to slow cars down. Also the slower stuff used to be sitting on the limiter in top gear. But it does introduce quite an interesting element because you've got to stand on the brakes pretty hard from a pretty high speed. So that was the first chicane. You can see actually in this case I braked really late on the brakes, lost quite a lot of time to the guys in front there. And then as we come through into the last chicane before the start-finish straight, the start-finish line.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! 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 No!
Yep, that was P1. He's gone. We're into P4, into P3. Due to his misfortune, here we are on board with him. He just clipped the curb on the exit of that final chicane on the throttle, and that's it, you're gone. That corner is always best to overuse the first part of the chicane, but the second part avoids the curb and you could be alright. So here we're on board with number 9. So this is the guy who had taken up the lead after that incident. This is the end of lap 2. And as you can hear on the inside, there's a bit of noise. And that is the sound of the second place car coming through on the inside. They have a bit of a coming together there, a bit of knock, but they're okay. And they managed to give each other a fair bit of space through that final chicane onto the start-finish straight. Now the number 9 car, he's still the guy in second, still on the inside. So the number 9 car, it gives him a wide berth and basically lets him through, I think, to avoid an incident. But what's that you can hear on the inside? Yep, that'll be me. I was a big enough gap that I could see that I decided to go for it. Actually, we'll have a look from the outside in a minute. There are some other camera views that show how crazy it was, but I managed to get alongside him for a couple of corners and then get in front and kind of chop his nose off into that corner there. So if we go for another look from another camera, here we'll be able to see we're on board with me, and we can see them battling up in front. Slows them down, especially at the exit there. I might get right up behind them. In fact, I actually had to lift. I didn't have enough speed to go between them, plus it was too dicey, so I decided to hang back, see what happens. And yeah, the number 9 car, he gave the other guy too much space to go through, so I thought, right, I'm having that. So I went through on the inside, side by side through, you know, a couple of corners here. It was great fun, and then yeah, chopped his nose off because I knew I was just far enough in front to claim position. I'm going to a third replay of this from another camera angle because this was probably my favourite manoeuvre I've ever done in iRacing. So here we are on board with a car that was in P2, and we can see me coming in there. P2's gone through into P1, and then we're looking back with me side by side with the guy who was in the lead. It's kind of really what makes iRacing for me, is that when you get a great race, it's really, really exhilarating. And this going through corners side by side with that guy there is great. And this basically then informed the rest of the race, because me and that number 9 car, we had a bit of a tussle from this point onwards. So here we've skipped forward a number of laps, can't remember how many, but the top 4 here, we'd all bunched up quite a bit. I'm still rolling in second place here. I've gone a bit wide there, and this is the start of another one of the little battles between me and the number 9 driver. So he's got round on my outside here. So I can see he's there, but he didn't have space, and then he tapped me. Not badly, but just enough that it pushed me beyond my braking markers. I think I was actually on the brakes, but it was enough to upset the car and push me off, you know, over the curbs. So riding on board with him here, you can see that he just comes in. I'm on the brakes. His brakes a little bit harder, a bit later. Sorry, he taps me in the rear, and it's just enough to send me just a little bit too far beyond my markers, and I have to take over the bumps. So no damage to the car. I wasn't that peeved. It's a racing incident really. A couple of laps later though, and I'm back behind him, chasing him down. I want that second place. So here we are back onto the banking, coming up towards the final chicane. I've got a brilliant run on him, and I decide, right, I'm going to go for the super low line. Kind of works in the MX5 down here. I don't think it really works in the faster stuff. But I took the super low line, nailed my braking point, and boom, back into second. Well chuffed with that. Another great move. That's why I recorded this race. Just really chuffed with how it had gone and the moves I managed to pull off. So here we are. Yeah, I took that super low line. I actually had a really great run on him. I had so much speed over him towards the end of the straight. It was ridiculous. So it wasn't actually that hard a pass in the end, but felt pretty heroic while doing it. So here we are back in the number 9. So he was chasing me, and I've completely stuffed up my braking point on the first chicane on the oval part of the circuit. I didn't hit the wall, but yeah, I was just pressure. He was cutting the time back to me, and I just missed my braking point, clattered the curb, went far too deep, and had to recover. But fortunately, no damage, didn't hit the wall, and there was the gap to him was still not too bad afterwards. So back to chasing him down all over again. So I thought here we'd kind of run through a bit of a lap from that point onwards while I try and catch up with him. So it was great under brakes here, managed to get back a load of time as we come up past the line and on into turn 1. Had a little nosy down the inside, but nothing happening there. So onto the infield section. Pretty tricky, it's pretty fast through here. This is a third gear, kind of little dab on the brake to get the nose in, roll the car out wide, and then again, bit of dab on the brake, changing to second to rotate the car into the corner. You can run right off the circuit here without getting a penalty, which is pretty cool. And then throw it in here in third, and then lift, bit of brake, second gear, tuck the nose in, run out wide, a little bit too wide there really, and keep it in tight here, and then this is where you've got to get your line just right as you get onto the oval again to carry as much speed onto the oval banking as you can. Done a pretty good job here. I think we're starting to pull him in. There's not the most overspeed, but with a bit of slipstream I can see that I'm gaining. So I'm going to go for it, show my intention, down the inside, late on the brakes, tuck it in, just bit of too much curb in the middle of the chicane, but not too much to really badly unsettle the car and go too wide, and we've got it done. So here we are now on the final lap. and you can hear a buzzing on my inside. That's right, it's number 9. He's back. He caught me up. I had a bad exit from onto the oval. So again, I had a look down the inside here, but I didn't want to have an accident. I wasn't fast enough, so I let him go and tried to concentrate on getting a decent exit, which I did. Got a great exit. So I can feel that I'm pulling him in. So I'm going to go for the inside move like I did on lap 2. Same move again. So down to the inside, try and out-drag him into the last corner. But just not enough speed. He's still on the inside. He brakes late. I see him coming. I try and avoid turning into him and have to run across the curbs. We both get slowdown warning, which means you have to back off otherwise you get a penalty for cutting the course. And we both slowed down, but I managed to just time mine perfectly to cross the line with it running out and claiming that second place. But here we see, you know, us both launching it over the chicane right at the finish, and me just pipping him, just managing my slowdown penalty better than he did. Although he might have got a longer one than me, I don't actually know. But there we go. Second place. Really exciting race. Loved it. Probably one of the best Mazda races I've had since starting iRacing a few months ago. Well, 6-7 months ago. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't know what I'm going to do next week. Probably another Porsche race, or who knows. Who knows? But whatever it is, I'll do a video. Thanks for watching, and take care.